Hi, Aloke. Welcome to the show. We have Aloke with us, who's the founder and CEO of Ixigo, helping us fly to different parts of the country at very, very good cost. So, Aloke, I'll let you share a little about how did you get started and what made you jump into such a massive field like this?
So back in 2007, we started out as a meta search engine or a comparison engine to find where the best deals are on flights. And over time, we expanded into more areas. Specifically, on the train side, we launched an app which became the most popular train utility app in the country. And then with buses also, we've partnered and acquired with a company called Abhibus. So now we are sort of a comprehensive intercity transportation and travel utility and booking business where you can come and search for information, find meaningful services across flight, train and bus. And more recently, we've also entered hotels category. I think the insight that we are building on is that travel in India, if you think of the pyramid, right, the aspiring middle class still is not consuming flights as a category and is largely relying on trains and buses because they cannot either afford or their city or town is not connected yet with an airport. And therefore, as a brand, we've been extremely focused on this next billion user opportunity where people from tier 2-3 towns, in fact, 94% of our transactions have a tier 2-3 leg in them. And also very deeply focused on user experience, customer experience in categories like trains and buses, where it's not just about booking the ticket, but about getting all the meaningful information about delays, status, whether you'll get a confirmed seat or not, where should I stand, what my platform number or coach position will be, or where will my bus stop be. Just getting all the metadata right. We spend a lot of time in just that meaningful information, and large part of it being driven by data science and AI, right? So that's how we've created differentiation in our space.
So you started with buses and trains and then you got flights into the
So we started with flights as a meta search and then we became an OTA on flights in 2019. On trains, we started as a utility app in 2013. And then in 2017, we started selling train tickets. Today, we are the largest train OTA in India and the second largest bus OTA. On flights, we are one of the fastest growing OTAs.
Now, with flights being, of course, more expensive and lesser volume versus the other two less expensive and higher volume, usually what is the percentage of revenue that comes from each three in percentage?
Yeah, see, broadly, we have disclosed all this information recently. We've obviously filed for going public and, that information is now publicly available. But broadly, just over half of our revenue comes from trains and then followed by flights and buses in that order. And remember that we also sell value-added services. So we have products like Ixigo Assured and Ixigo Flex, where we give you a fully refundable ticket or a fully modifiable ticket, where we carry the risk of bearing the penalties and charges which airlines or IRCTC or bus operators will charge you in case you cancel. Those products are also very popular and they're also contributing to our growth.
Excellent. That's great because that's a much needed thing. Quick thing, Alok, when you started, for how long did you sort of bootstrap and when was your first funding and how was that journey like?
Yeah, so that journey was very painful. Back in the days, we launched in 2007 and before that we'd been working on the idea for almost a year. Both me and my partner Rajneesh, we both not had a lot of savings, and in fact, I had a business school loan to pay off. So I've known him right from my IIT days. We were wingmates in our hostel and worked together at Amadeus in Europe. And then we decided to move back to India after my business school in 2006 and started working on the idea of Ixigo 2007. And very quickly, we realized we were running out of money, just after launching. And we found a seed investor base in Singapore. I think in India, it was very tough to raise money. There were very few funds. And because the meta search model that we had launched, it was not well known yet, and there were a lot of OTAs that had already started. It was a struggle to raise our first round, but we raised $500,000 just before the financial crisis came. The GFC came in 2008. But then when GFC came, we just had to sort of hunker down, and survive. And next 2 years, we kept growing our revenue. And by 2010, we were very close to break even. And then 2011 we raised capital from Elevation, formerly known as Safe Partners. And then 2016-17 we raised more capital from Peak 15. And more recently in 2021 we raised capital from a bunch of pre-IPO investors, including GIC, Malabar, White Oak, etc. So our fundraise journey that way, the first few years, if you look at institutional money, it first came in 2011, 5 years into actually starting to work on the idea. So it took a lot of patience and just bootstrapping to get to where.
And in those times when money is a real concern, it's not just about time, it's more about money at that time. How were you acquiring customers?
So it's a great question. I think as an entrepreneur, you have to first focus on building something that customers love. And if you actually do that, you start seeing organic growth, right? And in our early days, I remember that when we launched our meta search website, within a few days, it almost crashed because it became so popular just by word of mouth when we launched that we had to add server capacity very quickly within a first day itself. Thousands of people came and we were not anticipating it. We were hosting it on a very low-end server, the cheapest one we could find. And we had to very quickly adapt and start scaling up. If you actually manage to build something that solves a real-world problem or a pain area faced by millions of people, you will get growth. How you monetize that growth, obviously you should not worry too much on day one because you should build something that people want. And if people like it, they will keep coming back for it. You can over time monetize that, which is what we did, right? We had built this massive audience without selling a single ticket till late 2017 so 10 years after we started the company is when we started selling the first ticket. Till that time, we were a lead generation platform, advertising platform. But we'd already built a massive user base and trust by then. And we started to then monetize that trust through transactions. So that's the way our template worked out. For most companies, I don't advise them to spend a lot of money initially to acquire customers. Yes, you can get a first few customers to test out your idea. But you should not get used to just buying traffic or buying customers because it's a very slippery slope. You might get the false impression that you're growing well, but you might not have product market fit. So first, make sure you get to product market fit. And the way I define it is that if you have something that works, you will see organic week-on-week growth, right? A month-on-month growth. And when you see organic month-on-month, week-on-week growth is when you can fuel it further through some marketing spend. And so entrepreneurs make this classic mistake of, doing the spend first and then realizing they don't have something meaningful enough. And I think one has to keep talking to customers to stay grounded, keep reading reviews on the Play Store and see, which I still do till this day personally, because, it's just something, staying connected to customers is something, all entrepreneurs should actually do. And it becomes cultural after a while that you're so customer focused that is the top priority in the organization. I think revenue, monetization, profits and all those things flow from there, right? I think fundamentally you should not lose sight of what the customers want, and what they want keeps evolving. So product market fit is not static. You got to realize new opportunities along the way, like we did with trains, with buses, and wherever you see that opportunity and you are capable of serving it, you got to move in that direction, with the caveat that don't do too many things. Do one thing nicely and then move to the next one only when you feel you have a critical mass on the first one. Because again, entrepreneurs make that classic mistake of doing too many things and running out of capital because they try 10 different things at the same time.
Right.
So that's my key advice for people in the early stage.
Right. Would you like to share something about your investment portfolio?
Well, I've made a few angel investments in the past. These are all very small ticket investments in mostly betting on founders in mostly tech intensive spaces, and very early you're usually just taking a bet on the founder and the market, and because what they do might keep evolving.
Right.
I've not been as prolific lately because I've been extremely busy with my own company.
Right,
yes.
Right. And as a company, you don't do investments right now.
As a company, we have done one investment in a company called FreshBus, which is an electric bus operator. They run 19 electric buses in the south of the country, and they're less than a year old at this point. And we have done acquisitions, but we haven't done too many minority positions. And we did this one because there are synergies with our existing bus business in AbhiBus.
Right. One last, as a last piece of advice that you want to give to the founders who might be listening and struggling at this time.
Look, I think we've struggled a lot in our journey, right? In hindsight, everything looks great. I mean, people feel that's an overnight success, but it's been 15 years of struggle, and the struggle never ends. You feel it's ended, and then COVID hits you, and you're back to ground zero, and then you build it back up again. And I think there are two things I'll tell them: that look, if you're on to something that's working, where customers are actually liking what you're doing, and the customer cohort is growing, don't give up easily, because everything else can sort itself out. Just keep at it, right? Sometimes people give up too quickly and then realize that the market has evolved in their favor, but by then they've already given up. So I think just keep doing that, and we've always found a light at the end of the tunnel every time we face those situations. And we have had many situations where we didn't know whether we'd be able to pay the salaries the next month, but I think if you are fundamentally creating value, you will find a way to bridge that, and that's advice one. Advice number two is, I think you have to remain frugal, especially after you raise a lot of money. So the big mistakes people make are made in good times, right? Bad times, actually, you're so frugal, there's no room to make too many mistakes. In fact, you get more innovative during bad times because you got to get out of it. So you're pushed against the wall and you come up with creative ideas to get out of it. But in good times, we tend to start making a lot of mistakes because you feel that good times will last forever, right? So my advice to entrepreneurs is, if you recently raised a round, please don't try to spend it quickly and, just because you have a lot of money, use templates which are more dependent on burning capital. Try to make the best use of that capital to build longer term moats in your business. So everything that you're doing should create a moat which is longer term in that business, or create growth which comes over the next few years. Because if you're trying to do something just to optimize for the next 12 months, we've seen time and again that companies who've done that, right, I think have always struggled then to build a real business right underneath. So build a real business, do things which are long term. It's a marathon, it's not short term, and remain frugal even when you have the money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much, Alok. Lovely having you on.
Thank you. Take care.